This is Twit.
As it turns out, when Andy Rubin left Google's Android department to work on a secret project, he was going to work on androids, but with a lowercase a for reals. In an interview with the New York Times, Rubin revealed he's working on a robotics project for Google. The New York Times reports Google has acquired 7 robotics companies over the last 6 months, and sources say the aim is to aid in manufacturing, most likely of electronics, as well as competition in the retail supply chain, a la Amazon's warehouses.
An Android smartphone called the Yota phone that has both a regular color touchscreen and an e-paper display will go on sale later today in Russia and parts of Europe for about the equivalent of 499 euros. The Yota phone has a 4.3-inch 720p LCD display, a dual-core 1.7 gigahertz Snapdragon processor, 2 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of storage. All sounds good, but it also has an e-paper display on the back, which is also 4.3 inches, but has a lower resolution of 640 by 360 pixels. Yota describes it as an always-on, low-power display that can be used to view ebooks, battery life, notifications, and other info.
Valve just joined the Linux Foundation officially. The company released a Linux client back in February and announced its SteamOS would be based on Linux. With the move to join the Linux Foundation, Valve will be contributing tools for developers to work on SteamOS and hopes to entice hardware makers to support Linux above other platforms. Windows.
Brad Saunders is the chairman of the USB 3.0 Promoter Group, and they released a statement today announcing the next version of the USB standard will feature a new connector called Type-C. Designed for USB 3.1's spec, Type-C will be about the size of the current micro USB plug, so a lot smaller, features scalable power data rates, near 10 gigabits per second, and best of all, it will be reversible. That's right. It's no more jamming it in the wrong way and messing up your USB port, people. I hope the spec will be finalized by the middle of 2014.
A nonprofit called Education Superhighway, which lets schools test their broadband speeds and secure better connections, has raised $9 million. The round is led by Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg's Startup Education Fund and also includes the Gates Foundation. Evan Marwell, who's the CEO of Education Superhighway, says slow internet speeds is a, quote, fairly consistent problem in rural, urban, and suburban America. Over 40 million students are being left behind without the internet access and Wi-Fi they need to take full advantage of digital learning.
I'm still very excited about reversible USB. Awesome. The NextWeb found a GitHub repository called Mobile Chrome Apps that would bring packaged Chrome apps to Android and iOS. Now, the toolkit would allow those packaged Chrome apps to interact with Android and iOS hardware using Apache Cordova. Google hasn't mentioned when the toolkit will be official, but Google's Joe Marini says they hope to have a beta in January.
The rumored YouTube music service that Google has never announced but has been reported to launch in the summer and then delayed until the end of this year is getting a rumored delay again. All Things D reports the licensing deals for the music are all in place, but Google isn't yet satisfied with the product itself, so it's pushing off a launch until next year. Maybe, just maybe, that's why they never announced it in the first place. Who knows? My wife, she works there.
Sammy Kamkar, a serial hacker responsible for the MySpace Sammy Worm back in 2005, remember that? Landed him in jail. Has released hardware and software specs to create a drone hacking drone. Oh, what fun. You and I can now make an aerial drone that will be able to hunt down other drones, hack into those drones, and then control them. That sounds great. Kamkar is calling it Skyjack. It requires a Raspberry Pi circuit board, as well as a Parrot AR drone quadcopter, a small battery, and 2 wireless transmitters. Then there will also be reportedly a version of Skyjack that runs on a grounded Linux machine to hack drones within radio range. Not weird at all. Nothing to worry about.
China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology finally issued its TD-LTE licenses to China Mobile, China Unicom, and China Telecom, and it just so happens that Apple's latest iPhone supports TD-LTE. And it also just so happens that every analyst in the world has been projecting big sales for Apple if and when they could launch an iPhone on China Mobile, the country's largest wireless carrier. So there are your dots. Have fun connecting them.
Is driving with Google Glass legal in California? I guess we're going to find out because the person who got a ticket for driving with Google Glass is fighting that ticket in court. Cecilia Abidi's attorney says Glass was not being used while his client was driving, but was activated when she looked up at the officer as he stood at her window after pulling her over for speeding. They will also argue that the citation for driving with a video screen on should not apply to wearable devices like glass.